I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for Life in the UK test part 232. Benjamin Britten with us on page 80 while doing morning stretching, and if you participate in the morning stretching, that is at your own risk. Benjamin Britten, 1913-1976, is best known for his operas, which include Peter Grimm's and Billy Budd. So Benjamin Britten is the name, and he wrote operas. So I said already what operas are. So orchestras playing and people are on stage acting and singing. So he wrote operas, and two of his best known ones are Peter Grimm's and Billy Budd and Peter Grimm's. He also wrote A Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, which is based on a piece of music by Purcell and introduces the listener to the various different sections of an orchestra. So Henry Purcell was the organist of Westminster Abbey, and he wrote church music and operas and other pieces, and he developed a style of music which is a bit distinct of the one written in France, Germany or Italy at the time. And he's still influential on composers. So Benjamin Britten wrote a book which has the title A Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, and that is about a piece of Purcell, and that should bring the listener closer to the different sections of an orchestra. So it's not a book. It's a musical piece, I guess. So let's just explain it twice. They don't say what it is, so we don't have to know what it is, so it's not a problem for the test if I say something wrong. And anyone really interested can look it up for themselves. So let's imagine it is a book. Then in the book there's explained the different pieces of music, the different sections of an orchestra. So on one page he writes about what the clarinets are doing, another he writes about what the trumpet is doing. The trumpet is not a classical instrument, what the trumpet is doing. And on another page he explains how the violins are working together with the oboes or with the cellos. And maybe it's also a music piece, and in that music piece, he maybe, if it's not a book, he writes in a melody about one part, where it's just in that music piece like a suite, which I explained. So one piece, and now for 30 seconds, he lets the clarinets play, and so we can really concentrate and see that is the sound of the clarinets. And now let's put together that with the oboes. And what is that for sound? They are similar instruments. What happens if someone takes now a horn suddenly, just for a little melody? And what if a horn now sets out, it now closes to play, finishes to play, and now the violins are starting? What happens with violins starting? What happens if the first violin plays its own melody over them? What happens if the piano just plays a little bit and so on? So maybe it's also a musical piece. And Benjamin Britten also founded the Aldeburgh Festival in Suffolk. We know where Suffolk is. There's Scotland Who. There's for one of the Anglo-Saxon kings. There was the tomb with the bow and the armor and the treasure underneath the mound of hill. And above Suffolk there is Norfolk and there's Norwich. So he founded the Aldeburgh Festival in Suffolk, which continues to be a popular music event of international importance. So if people are living in Suffolk, you might can go to the Aldeburgh Festival and listen to popular music to music of a popular music event. But also people from international, so from other countries of the world, are coming to that event, to Aldeburgh Festival in Suffolk, founded by Benjamin Britten, and listen to music. That was Benjamin Britten. Now we're through with his 7 composers, and we should be familiar with the lives. There was not that much to lives we had. I said something wrong. I said to the records to the notable British sportsman and woman that we don't have records, or just with Dame Ellen MacArthur sailing around the world as the fastest person single-handed 2004. We also had that 1954, The Mile Under a Minute by Sir Roger Bannister. So we had at least 2 records. And now here with the lives. No, I again say it, we don't have much. We have about one writing for George I and George II, that was George Frederick Handel. About Sir Edward Elgar, that he's born in Worcester, England. Do we have to remember that Sir Edward Elgar was born in Worcester, England? George Frederick Handel, born in Germany, became a British citizen. To all the other ones, we have nothing. Nothing about their life. We have one was born in Worcester, which is in England, and another was born in Germany, or back then in today's Germany, and lived many years in the UK, or in today's UK. It's not that much. And familiar with the lives and works also. So we could be asked who wrote Peter Grimm's, and we should know it was William Wharton. So William Wharton. And it was Benjamin Britten. And works. Yeah, we're gonna do it. It's not that complicated. We don't have listed many, and they are differently, and they fit in the time frame when they're written. From the titles. Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, Peter Grimm's and Billy Budd. No one would have written that 200 years ago. That's 20th century. And when Sir William Walton marches for King George VI and Elizabeth II, and Belsace, that's typical for the beginning of the 20th century, and also for Say, the French name. And Ralph Vaughan, we have nothing. Sir Edward Elgar, Pomp and Circumstance, Marches #1, Land of Pope and Glory. Okay, but it fits. That is not what someone had written 1600, and not 21st century. Gustav Holst, The Planets, fits exactly. I Vow to Be My Country, fits. And water music, and here, music for the Royal Fireworks. That is Renaissance. No one would speak or say music for the Royal Fireworks. But fireworks, so it's not medieval. It is clearly that time, and it's also not later. It is clearly Renaissance. It is clearly the 16th, 17th century. And Henry Purcell, we have nothing. So that is pretty easy and probably useful. And works of these famous composers here and on the previous page. So it is useful and not that hard. So we're going to do it. Now we're going to do just morning stitching. And if you're here just for music, part 2, then you can just go to the next part. Now we're doing morning stitching. If you participate in morning stitching, let's sit here on this. And we go to stable stand. And we're going back with the shoulders. In front and down, so forward for the seconds. Back, up, front, and down. And that is the last round. And now in front, up, back, and down. And the last round. For the Royal Firework, that is clearly time of the absolute monarchy's time, even though in England it was not, but it's clearly time of a Renaissance and of Ludwig XVI, that is clearly Baroque. It's clearly celebrating of Baroque and Royal Fireworks. And the other thing with, what was it? Planets, that is clearly beginning of 20th century. There's not that much known to science, but the other thing, and Belsa, that is these titles, these Oriental titles, and they appeared in the beginning of the 20th century. And the other thing, Land of Hope and Glory, that would not be written 16th century, something like that. Maybe you will find something of Land of Hope and Glory, but having that in that way in the title, it's clearly in a world where it's not an absolute king of Baroque, even though it was not in England, but it was influenced by the other titles. I don't have any proof or anything. But, and now to have the title Land of Hope and Glory, that is clearly later, where not one kingdom or one king is like a god, like in the French Baroque, but it's clearly already there are more countries in the world. It's more impression during the time of the imperialism. There are different countries in the world. and that is the land of hope and glory. So I don't have any proof for anything for it, but for me it's pretty clear from what time they are written. Now the next exercise, we're breathing in and we're lifting the shoulders up. And we're breathing out and we're letting them fall down. And we're breathing in and lifting the shoulders up. And out and we're letting them fall down. And another time, we're breathing in and lifting the shoulders up. And out. Is that the last time? This is the last time. We're breathing in and lifting the shoulders up. And out. I talked so much. We're breathing in and lifting. We don't have so much time now. In, lifting your arms up, and we're doing the upper plug up. We're reaching high. You're taking upper, turning it around, and we're harvesting some apple fruit. And the last two, and it was Charles II and Charles I who believed in the divine right of God, the divine right of kings. So it is the time of the 15th, 16th century. And also the kingdoms got larger. We had that England and Scotland were not one country, so the kingdoms got larger in this time. We are breathing in, lifting the arms to the outside, we're doing the shifter. And to the outside and we're shifting over. And again in into the middle. And out to the side. And again in into the middle. And out to the side. And again in into the middle. And out to the side. And again in into the middle. And down, and we're doing the buffalo fighting its hangover. Breathe in. And out, we're bringing one shoulder in front. And again in the shoulder back. And out the other shoulder in front. And again in. And out. And again in. And out. And let's do the exercise another time. Breathe in. And out. And again in. Out. Now breathe in. And out, hanging down. And breathe again in. And out onto one leg. Breathe again in. And out over to the other leg. And again in. And out back into the middle. And breathe in. And out we come slowly up, round back, and begin to top it backwards short. The torso pointing to the outside, we're making a little space between the heels, we're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And out, and we're sinking down, and placing the elbows against the inside of the knees, and we're breathing in and straightening up the back. And out, we're coming up with the back. And again in. And out in the garden pose. And I said, I'm going to say how I publicly learned, so I say how I remember all of it, and if I just say I can remember them, we're breathing in. And out we come back. And in. And again out back into the garden pose. I have to say how I can remember them. And again in. And I said I'm going to tell most of the things how I remember them. And out the last time. And again in. Out back into the garden pose. Breathe again in. And now out, and we're coming up slowly in one straight line. So we don't have time for the CEO's pose, just a closing exercise. Breathing in. And out. strong. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. In. Close the legs. So thank you very much, and until next time.